New York City has their mole people, I think, as everybody in the country knows. But not to be outdone, LA has its very own subterranean, probably made-up dwellers, the lizard people.
I'd like to know more.
You're about to. Downtown LA is a very hilly place, as we know, for all of those of us who try to walk from the subway to the library.
Yeah, you gotta get a taxi.
You gotta get a rickshaw or something.
You gotta take Angel's Flight.
And then get a taxi or something.
You're still,
Uber, Tinder, I don't know, something. Take a Tinder there. Take it easy. So downtown LA is a very hilly place, but it used to be even hillier. Bunker Hill, it's still mostly around, but one hill that's gone forever is Fort Moore Hill.
I've heard about this, tell me.
This area...
Never mind.
This area was bordered by what is now Temple on the south side, Hill on the west, Spring on the east, Cesar Chavez on the north.
Okay, I know it.
Being a hill, we've triangulated this place, more of a square. So being a hill, it had certain strategic military advantages. So during the Mexican-American War, America set up a fort there, Fort Moore, in 1847 to hold control of Los Angeles and prevent any Mexican retaliation from them, taking the city. Yeah. The war ended not long after that, and the control of the city was stabilized. So in 1853, the fort was decommissioned and then abandoned. After that, a few scattered people built houses up there, but mostly the area was just a big cemetery, unclaimed.
I thought we're done talking about cemeteries. Like, don't bring it up anymore. You're stepping on my toes, friend. There'd be a lot of toe stepping coming up. Yeah, my thing's about lizard people too.
My next 3 stories are all about different amphibious people. It was a cemetery. I don't care what you say. The first man buried there was Andrew Sublet, who got killed in a fight to the death with a bear in Malibu.
What?
Here's what's even weirder. The bear also died. I don't know where the bear's buried.
Was it like the end of Rocky 2 where they both hit each other?
They both charge at each other and they stab each other in the gut right at the moment.
I wonder if this is the same bear that killed a little girl at Venice, and they're just like, run free, and they fought a guy. Go! I can't protect you anymore. Go. Benji, I can't protect you anymore.
Get up there. Be fruitful with the mountain lions.
We make fun of so many dead people.
If there's any Nazis still up there, give them one from me. Seymour. So it was a graveyard and some houses. This went on up until 1882 when a man named Jacob Philippi opened up LA's first brewery there, and he had a beer garden and a saloon to go along with it. Drunks being drunks, though, the area became rough and tumble. So in 1887...
Mostly tumble because it was a hill.
They did. People would tumble down the hill all the time. So in 1887, he sold the land to a lady named Mary Hollister Banning, who then turned it into one of the city's first upscale, swanky neighborhoods.
Okay.
However, the city began to expand out of the Pueblo area, and this giant hill was... it's a giant hill. No one wants to walk up there. This is in San Francisco. In 1901, the Broadway Tunnel opened up under it to try to alleviate traffic, but it wasn't enough. In 1933, plans were made to demolish Fort Moore Hill to make room for all the new citizens, and they also needed the dirt from there to help make Union Station. The hill always had a constant air of legends and rumors of hidden gold. There was supposedly gold hidden there by the Spanish and somehow by the Mayans and the Aztecs.
All right.
So the first published story about this gold appeared in the LA Times on August 15th, 1897. There were several attempts that were made over the years, no confirmed successes. When the plans to level the hill were announced, the rumors of gold intensified, so even more so because it was the middle of the Depression in 1933, and people would believe anything if it meant finding some gold that would save their families.
They just wanted to buy hooch and bread. Save families.
Family's got to have hooch. What's a family without hooch?
Dead family. Oh.
Yeah, an unclaimed family. So then the big man came along, a geophysicist and mining engineer named G. Warren Shufeldt. Shufeldt. For the sake of this, Shufeldt. He had a device that he had made that he called a radio X-ray machine that seems to be just a weird pendulum in a box.
Okay.
And the way he said it worked was that if you put something in the machine, it would detect anything akin to it. For example, if Greg murdered somebody...
cold-blooded.
Not even remorseful about it.
Out of nowhere, too.
It got him off. So if he killed somebody named Daniel and he left a strand of hair behind as his calling card, Shufeldt could put that piece of hair into his device and the machine will be able to track him down and bring him to justice.
A justice machine. The Justice-matic.
Yeah.
Justice-matic 1935.
The murder solver. He applied this operating system to finding gold. So he put some gold in there. And with the help of an ancient treasure map drawn on an old piece of sheepskin provided by a couple of guys named Rex McCreary and Ray Martin, and they used the X-ray machine to locate gold under Fort Moore Hill. They claimed it was a map that they had to some Spanish gold, maybe even Aztec, and Shufeldt claimed the X-ray images he got were scientific proof that there was gold down there. But another gold-finding expert surveyed the area with his trusty stick with a tobacco pouch tied at the end that would dip down if there was gold.
Gypsy magic.
He looked around and he said, "There's no more than $2 tops on this hill." And that,
$2? I could buy a bag of chips. I could buy a soda. I could take a ride on a trolley. I could go to the movies.
I guess this guy with the tobacco stick methods weren't scientifically sound enough, so nobody was swayed. Shufeldt struck a deal with the county board of supervisors that he can dig there, but any gold that he found, he had to split with the county 50-50.
That's such a weird handshake, old-timey deal. I shook hands with the city, and they're going to get half of it. And they looked me square in the eye, and I trust them.
I high-fived City Hall. So this ridiculous contract, it was approved on February 21st, 1933, but they were only allowed to dig 50 feet deep. So nothing was found. But they wanted to dig deeper. On March 22nd, 1933, the contract was changed to allow them to dig deeper. Shufeldt and his gang of ragtag volunteers dug and they dug. They found nothing. So the contract was renewed on April 10th, but by September of that year, nothing. And the contract, they just allowed it to expire.
But what about the X-ray machine?
It ran out of batteries. They weren't invented yet, so we couldn't get new ones. So this is when Shufeldt took a little trip to Arizona. On this trip, he met a Hopi chief named Little Chief Greenleaf, and he was told a story. Here we go.
I'm ready, finally.
Everybody,
been talking about hills and
get
digging.
into your sweat lodge and get ready to listen to this. Let's add that to the tally of offensive things.
I believe we're at 13.
So according to legend, thousands of years ago, I guess before the Keech were here, there was a great meteor shower that rained fire upon the southwest. They say that the Winslow crater in Arizona is a remnant from this event, but that would place this in the timeline of history as happening some 20,000 years ago. And if you're following the timeline of actual history from the last episode, you'll notice that there's a lot of plot holes in this. Yeah. So this story could also be connected to the Shumash legend that I heard about of the very first people of LA called the Moo, who lived in a land that is now covered by the Pacific Ocean. Oh. So during this supposed reign of fire, many died, but a few survived. The survivors knew that something like this could happen again, so they decided to take their people underground where they could be safe. The Hopi called these people their Snake Brothers. We know them as the Lizard People.
Well, Snake Brothers is endearing, though.
That's too biker gang, though. Lizard People's more authentic.
It's judgmental, too. I could see myself segregating lizard people.
It was disappointing, at least for me, to find out, but they weren't actually half lizard anamorph people. They were just humans that supposedly descended from the Mayans, but they worshipped the lizard as a sign of long life. So that's why they were called the lizard people. They were somewhat superhuman, though. They were extremely advanced scientifically and intellectually. They were very wealthy. The intelligence of one of their 9-year-olds was that of one of our college graduates, or us. I don't know what that means.
Are you complimenting us? I can't tell.
I don't even know anymore. These people were able to predict earthquakes, and they had very advanced chemical knowledge as well. So supposedly the lizard people created 13 underground cities, 3 of them along the coast. According to Little Chief Greenleaf, one was under what is now LA. Mm-hmm. So the lizard people used their chemicals to carve out an elaborate series of tunnels shaped like a lizard under what is now downtown LA to use as a bomb shelter for their people should another rain of fire happen. So these tunnels were said to be big enough to accommodate 1,000 families in addition to storing their tribal wealth, which included tablets made of solid gold that were inscribed with the true origins of the human race. Oh. And eventually the lizard people died off in the tunnels because of natural gases leaking in there, but the tunnels were still there. Supposedly.
And I wonder if those are the tunnels that are supposedly under Chinatown now.
I'm getting to that. Toes will be stepped. This story was too good not to be true for Schoefelt, so he returned to LA and dusted off the old radio X-ray machine. He was able to map out an entire elaborate system of tunnels right under the city's collective noses, just as prophesized.
And it was shaped like a lizard.
It was.
Really?
Well, listen to this.
I'll get off your toes.
You're getting... God, it's like doing the waltz with your daughter. So there were 285 tunnels in all that covered 1,900 square feet. The rooms down there ranged from 23 feet by 23 feet to 34 feet by 42 feet. There were 37 gold tablets of 4 feet long, 14 inches wide that were spread over 16 rooms. 3 of the tablets will be missing the southwest corner. The head of the reptilian tunnel design is under Elysian Park. The tip of the tail is under the Central Library. Ooh. So there was also a series of secondary tunnels that went as far as the Santa Monica Bay for ventilation purposes. The main room of this lizard city was supposedly under 2nd and Broadway. So Schoefelt went back to the county board and got permission once again to dig at what is now 518 North Hill Street. An article on the front page of the LA Times ran about this January 29th, 1934, complete with the Fort Moore Hill section of Schoefelt's map. Mm-hmm. And again, this being the Depression, such a thrilling hidden treasure story gripped people's imagination. People came to watch the dig, and everybody was a titter. They all twittered about it. On this new dig, he managed to get 250 feet deep, but the mud and the boulders prevented him from going any further towards the 1,000 feet he felt was needed to hit the tunnels. I don't know if I have to point this out again. Nothing was found. So the city...
I'm on the edge of my seat, but I'm sitting on the floor, if that makes sense.
So the city snapped out of it, and on March 5th, 1934, the project was shut down, the shafts were filled, the contract with the city was canceled, and everyone agreed never to speak of this again. So,
but you're not in agreement.
Except
you
me.
Were in
I don't agree to nothing. So by the 40s, Fort Moore Hill was an obstacle to traffic, and in 1949, it was demolished to make way for the 101. Strangely enough, there actually are secret tunnels under downtown LA, but they were not made by lizard chemicals. Just regular ones. So there are 11 miles of tunnels stretching from Spring and Temple to First and Grand.
Okay.
They were service tunnels that the city built that connected several government buildings. They have been used to transport the likes of Mickey Cohen from the jail to the courthouse and back. When Charles Manson was on trial, his followers were even entertaining the idea of using these tunnels to break him out.
Of course they were.
So files from the county archive are stored down there. There was even one night when the city had to move $1 billion worth through them in something called Operation Midnight.
Ooh.
They were also intended to be used as fallout shelters should there be a nuclear attack from Russia. In 1987, during a bad rainstorm, they were opened up for the homeless to sleep down there. Some probably never left. The coroner has stored bodies there.
Wow.
So I'm sure there's a lot of unclaimed corpses down there.
Yeah.
The mafia has dumped bodies down there. During Prohibition, a lot of booze was smuggled through them. The King Eddie Saloon has an entrance to them in their basement.
Really?
The tunnels of the city's original subway system are also down there, but due to earthquake concerns, you can't go there for tours. But there is an unmarked elevator behind the Hall of Records that you can take down there to see some of it. But nowadays, there's most likely ruled by rats instead of lizards.
You gotta go for me. I'm Indiana Jones's dad. I know that there's a knight down there in a coffin, and I really want to see it, but there's rats, and you got to go for me.
Well, and then the young Indiana Jones, the young adventures. So there's also some tunnels under Chinatown that may have been what Schoefelt was actually stumbling upon, so maybe he wasn't completely an idiot.
Yeah.
So an incredibly wild conspiracy theory that I read was that Schoefelt did find tunnels down there, and he had a secret entrance to them in the basement of the Central Library, and the big fire there in 1986 was just a diversion for naval intelligence officers to sneak down into it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's a ridiculous conspiracy, but it's really fun.
I like that.
So in the end, Schoefelt was just yet another delusional gold hunter in LA, and he died in North Hollywood in 1957 like the rest of them. That's the last time anyone will ever speak of him again. You're lucky we gave you that, Schoefelt. See you at the Unclaimed Corpse Parade.
Biggest person I've ever met.